Hello. In the previous class, we already started complex numbers and we did a few multiple choice questions. Today we are going to continue with the same. You can see the next question which is on the board. It says the points on the complex plane given by the condition argument of z equal to 2n plus 1 pi. Remember, n belongs to set of integers. So based on this, you have to say which option is correct. So for that, first we have to start with argument of z. Now for that, we have to take z as any complex number. Let z be x plus iy. So that when you take modulus of z, it will be r, that is square root of x square plus y square. And if you take argument of z, it is already given as 2n plus 1 into pi. That means I can write the z complex number in a different way. That will be r into cos of the angle. Argument means theta, the angle. So I can write cos of 2n plus 1 pi and then plus I sine theta, that is 2n plus 1 pi. So this is actually 2n plus 1 means odd number. So odd number means theta will be like 1 pi or 3 pi or 5 pi, all such odds. So when you take cos pi, it is minus 1. If you take cos 3 pi, that is also minus 1, and so on. Similarly, if you take sine pi, it is 0. If you take sine 3 pi, it is 0, so on. So I can write r into minus 1, and that will be minus r, because this becomes 0 and this becomes minus 1. I will highlight this entire thing becomes minus 1 and this entire thing becomes 0. So I'm left with only minus 1. That means minus r. So z is a complex number which can be written as minus r because it is negative. Minus r, it is negative, and so it will lie on negative axis. That means the negative axis. So negative real semi-axis z will be the option. You have to go with this option. Next question is, if z1 equal to a plus ib and z2 equal to c plus id, these two are complex numbers, then mod of z equal to mod of z1 equal to mod of z2 equal to 1. And real part of z1 z2 bar is 0. Then the pair of complex numbers w1 equal to a plus ic and w2 equal to b plus id satisfy which of the options? So there are too many things linked with each other. So suppose they gave you z1 as a plus ib. I will take z1 as cos alpha plus I sin alpha. That means this is a plus ib. Z2 I will take cos beta plus I sin beta. That means this is C plus ID. So from this, I can write what is Z2 bar. Z2 conjugate will be cos beta minus I sin beta. Why did I take Z1 this and Z2 this? Because they gave me modulus of Z1 and Z2 equal to 1. So conveniently, modulus of Z1 will be square root of cos square alpha plus sin square alpha, which is 1. And modulus of Z2 will be square root of cos square beta plus sin square beta. This is also equal to 1. So clearly I got it. And then they said real part of Z1, Z2 bar. If I multiply Z1 and Z2 bar, Z1 and Z2 bar I am multiplying. That means I am multiplying cis alpha and cis minus beta. What did I say here? Z1 I am writing in short as cis alpha. Z2 bar in short I am writing as cis minus beta. So when I multiply, actually I will add the angles. I will get cis alpha minus beta. That means I am getting cos alpha minus beta plus I sin alpha minus beta. Now they said real part of Z1, Z2 bar is 0. This is the real part. So they are saying cos of alpha minus beta is 0. This is very important thing which we will be utilizing later. So I am highlighting this. Cos of alpha minus beta is 0. Now we will come to the exact point. What are they asking? They are asking W1 equal to A plus IC, W2 equal to B plus ID. I'm not reading it as omega. I'm reading as W1 and W2. So what will be W1? What will be W2? So clearly W1 will be A. A is cos alpha plus I. C is cos beta. From where did I take? A is cos alpha, C is cos beta. And what is W2? B. That is sin alpha plus I, D, sin beta. So you can see here B is sin alpha, D is sin beta. This is how I have taken W1, W2. Now, they did not ask me anything, but in the options you can see absolute value of W1 equal to 1. Obviously, absolute value of W1 square root of cos square alpha plus cos square beta cannot be 1. So this option is wrong. The first option is that absolute value of W1 equal to 1. Now in here question, the option is repeating, but actually it should be absolute value of W2. Again, absolute value of W2 cannot be 1 because it is sine square alpha plus sine square beta. It cannot be equal to 1. It is W2, not W1. Correct it. So this is also not correct. Next, we will see what happens here. I will write W2 bar sine alpha minus I sine beta. And I will multiply W1 and W2 bar. What I will get. So I'm multiplying cos alpha plus I cos beta and sine alpha minus I sine beta. When I multiply, you know what is the shortcut formula we have. Let us use that shortcut formula. Do you remember the shortcut formula? Okay, I will write. If you don't remember the shortcut formula, let me write. When I multiply A plus IB and C plus ID, the shortcut formula I will use is AC minus BD plus I into AD plus BC. This is the shortcut formula. So now I will multiply as per this shortcut formula. I'll continue multiplying. So first I have AC. AC means cos alpha, sin alpha, minus BD. BD means cos beta, sin beta. But minus is there, minus. So it will become plus, because AC means I'm multiplying cos alpha, sin alpha. BD means I'm multiplying cos beta minus sin beta. But already one minus is there. So minus and minus will become plus. So this is what I have. Then plus I into AD. AD is minus cos alpha sin beta plus BC. BC will be cos beta sin alpha. This is what I have. Now in the option, they are saying real part of W1, W2 bar is 0. Let us take the real part. So real part of W1 into W2 bar is cos alpha sin alpha plus cos beta sin beta. This is nothing but cos of alpha minus beta formula. And from here, the highlighted one, I got this is equal to 0. That means my correct option is part C. So sometimes you have to see the options and then decide. Okay, we'll go to the next question. Next question is, if n1 and n2 are positive integers, then 1 plus I power n plus 1 plus, this is not n, it is n1. Correct it. 1 plus I power n1 plus 1 plus I cube. 1 plus I cube power n1 plus 1 plus I power 5 power n2, and there is actually one more also, 1 plus I power 7 power n2 is a real number. In what case? Which of the following cases it is applicable? That is what we are going to see now. So we have to simplify a few things over here. First one, I will take 1 plus I power n1. 1 plus I power n1. How can I write this as? I will make some changes. This 1 plus I will divide by root 2 inside the power n1, and outside I will multiply root 2 power n1. So inside, actually what I'm doing is, when I'm dividing, inside I'm dividing by root 2 power n1, outside I'm multiplying by root 2 power n1. Why am I doing this? Because one thing is, if I multiply and divide, nothing has been changed. The question remains the same. Okay. Then why am I doing? Outside I have root 2 power n1. Inside I have 1 by root 2 plus I into 1 by root 2 power n1. So outside root 2 power n1 will be same. Inside 1 by root 2 I can write cos pi by 4 plus I sin pi by 4. Because cos pi by 4 is 1 by root 2, sin pi by 4 is 1 by root 2. And then I have power n1. So this is the small change I brought. Similarly, if I take the next one, 1 plus I cube power n1. Actually, I cube means I square into I. I square is minus 1 into I. So it is minus I. So it changes to 1 minus I power n1 because I cube is minus I. And then as we have written 1 plus I power n1, same way we can write 1 minus I power n1. Only difference is I will have root 2 power n1 and inside I have cos pi by 4 minus I sin pi by 4 whole power n. Okay, next. How about 1 plus I power 5? The next one is 1 plus I power 5. So I will take 1 plus I power 5 whole power n2. Now how can I write I power 5? I power 4 into I. I power 4 is I square whole square into I. Or already I told you I power 4 is 1. So 1 into I will be I. I told you I power 4 is 1. So I get I power 5 as I. 1 plus I power n2. Now looking on the top, 1 plus I, this time I will write root 2 power n2. And because it is 1 plus I will write cos pi by 4 plus I sin pi by 4 whole power n2. The last one, 1 plus I power 7 whole power n2. Now I power 7 means I power 4 into I cube. I power 4 is 1. I cube we got minus I, already we did. I cube is minus I. So I power 7 will be minus I. Instead of I power 7, write minus I whole power n2. So that you can write root 2 power n2, but this time 1 minus I. So cos pi by 4 minus I sin pi by 4 whole power n2. In this way, I am writing all these. I have changed all these. Now your work is to add up all. So when you add up all, what will you get? First, I will add up these two. So first I will add 1 plus I power n and 1 minus I power n. So before adding, I will apply De Moivre's theorem. That means I will have root 2 power n1. Here I will apply De Moivre's theorem. That means the power n1 will come and multiply to pi by 4. I sin the power n1 will come and multiply to pi by 4. This is what I have for 1 plus I power n1. Similarly, here also, I will apply De Moivre's theorem here. So root 2 power n1, I have cos power n1 will multiply with pi by 4 minus I sin power n1 will multiply with pi by 4. So when you add these two, what do you mean? When you add 1 plus I power n1 and 1 plus I cube power n1, I will take root 2 power n1 common, then cos n1 pi by 4 plus I sin n1 pi by 4 plus cos n1 pi by 4 minus I sin n1 pi by 4. So these two will cancel. You will have 2 times root 2 power n1 cos n1 pi by 4, because only cos n1 pi by 4 2 times is there. This is what we have. Similarly, when I add 1 plus I power 5 n2 power n2 plus 1 plus I power 7 n2, I will take common root 2 power n2, applying De Moivre's theorem and adding cos n2 pi by 4 plus I sin n2 pi by 4. The power n2 I have multiplied to pi by 4. Similarly, cos n2 pi by 4 minus I sin n2 pi by 4. The power n2 I am multiplying to pi by 4 angle. After cancelling, I will get 2 into root 2 power n2 cos n2 pi by 4. This is what I will get. Now, when I add all the given expression, that is, I am adding 1 plus I power n1 plus 1 plus I cube power n1 plus 1 plus I power 5 power n2 plus 1 plus I power 7 n2. What can I take common? I can take common only 2. After taking 2 common, what will I have? 2 power n1 by 2 cos n1 pi by 4 plus 2 power n2 by 2 cos n2 pi by 4. Clearly, there is no I here. That means we are getting a real number as the answer. There is no I. We are getting a real number as the answer. So it will be a real number. As per the question, what they said, the answer will be a real number always. N1 and N2 can be any integers, positive integers. It will be always, for all values of N1 and 2, it will be a real number. That is what we are proving here. Okay, coming to the next question. In the next question, you can see if P dash represent the complex number Z1 and its additive inverse respectively, then the complex equation of the circle with P dash as the diameter is. So for this, if I draw the circle, it will be easy. This is the circle. This is the diameter of the circle. This is P. So it is the complex number Z1. And this is P dash. It is the additive inverse. That means it is minus Z1. P dash is forming the diameter of the given circle. That means, suppose if I take any point Z here on the circle, I am taking a point Z here. It is represented by complex number Z. So from center, if I join, this is the radius. Similarly, this is also the radius. Similarly, this is also the radius from the center origin. So I can say modulus of Z will be same as modulus of Z1. Right? Similarly, I can say modulus of Z will be same as modulus of Z2 also. That also I can take. But I don't have Z2. I have Z1 and minus Z1. So I can take either Z1 or minus Z1. Because the radius will be same everywhere. So modulus of Z will be equal to modulus of Z1. Or modulus of Z square will be equal to modulus of Z1 square. Right? But in the options, if you see, there is conjugate. There is conjugate. So what I will do is I will take Z into Z bar. Instead of Z, I can write Z1. And instead of Z bar, I can write Z1 bar. Because Z, modulus of Z is equal to modulus of Z1. So instead of Z, I'm writing Z1. Instead of Z bar, I'm writing Z1 bar. They are same. So if I want to change or rearrange this, I can write Z by Z1 is equal to Z1 bar by Z bar. So that means I got option A. After interchanging, after rearranging, that means I can take option A as my answer. Okay, coming to the next question. Suppose Z1, Z2, Z3 are vertices of an equilateral triangle inscribed in the circle mod of Z equal to 2 if Z1 equal to 1 plus root 3i and Z1, Z2, Z3 are in clockwise sense, then which option you can select? There are 3 options and the fourth one is nothing, obviously. So what I will do is, first of all, I will draw a circle. Everything depends upon this circle. In the circle, I will draw equilateral triangle. So you have to draw carefully equilateral triangle. And then what I will do is, here, whether it is center of the circle or centroid or circumcenter, whatever it is, that will be origin, O. For equilateral triangle, everything will be O. So I will draw x-axis like this. This is x-axis. And perpendicular to x-axis, I will draw in black color. That would be better. So passing through the origin and one vertex, I will draw x-axis like this. And perpendicular to x-axis passing through origin, I will draw y-axis like this for convenience. Okay. So they said Z1, Z2, Z3 are the vertices of equilateral triangle. So in clockwise direction. So I will take Z1, this vertex, 3 vertices. This vertex in clockwise direction, I will take Z2. And this vertex in clockwise direction, I will take Z3. Now Z1 is given to me. Z1 they gave 1 plus root 3i. Remember that. So Because Z1 is given, if I find argument of Z1, it will be tan inverse y by x. That is pi by 3. So what is argument of Z1? I will show with the help of a line. So if I draw Z1 and O, if I join, this is the argument. This is the argument and this is pi by 3, 60 degrees. This is argument of Z1. Z1 is joining to origin. That is why I am taking like this. Is that clear? Argument means angle with x-axis. That is what I got. Now, if I want argument of Z2, argument of Z2 is exactly opposite to Z1 in the fourth quadrant. So it will be minus pi by 3. I can write argument of Z2 will be minus pi by 3. So I can write Z2 as, how can I write Z2? Depending on Z1. How to write Z1? For that I have to decide. I will write here because I don't have space. Z1 is 1 plus root 3i. So I will divide by 2 everywhere and I will multiply by 2. Why did I multiply and divide by 2? Because 1 by 2 I can write as cos 60. Root 3 by 2 I can write as sin 60. This is how Z1 is. Argument is pi by 3. That means looking at this Z2 I can write 2 into, because argument is minus pi by 3, cos pi by 3 minus I sin pi by 3. I can write like this for Z2. That means this will be 2 into cos pi by 3 is 1 by 2 minus I sin pi by 3 is root 3 by 2. Sin pi by 3 is root 3 by 2. So when I multiply 2, I will get 1 minus I root 3. This is what I wrote for Z2. So in the options, if you see Z2 is 1 minus I root 3. This is what I got. Okay, if you want, you can find Z3 just to confirm. I will tell you how to find Z3. Because you have argument of Z1 and argument of Z2. Now if you take argument of Z3 in the diagram, what is argument of Z3? Clearly you can see it is pi. From here to here, see the diagram, it is pi. So I will take argument of Z3 as pi. Z3 I can write. How can I write? 2 into cos pi plus I sin pi. Because modulus will be same everywhere. Like modulus of Z1 will be same as modulus of Z2, will be same as modulus of Z3. Remember, modulus of Z1 equal to modulus of Z2 equal to modulus of Z3. And that is equal to modulus of Z. They gave modulus of Z is 2. Is that clear? Z means, what is Z? I will take any, suppose here I will take Z. Z I will take here. So modulus of Z means radius. Modulus of Z is 2. So radius is 2. So modulus of Z1 will be 2. Modulus of Z2 will be 2. Because all these are radii. Modulus of Z3 also will be 2. That's why for Z1, R is 2. For Z2, R is 2. For Z3, R will be 2. Everywhere R I am taking same. Okay, that means 2 into minus 1 plus 0I. So Z3 is minus 2, which I have here. So option A is the correct option. Next, we can go to question number 15. If modulus of Z is maximum of modulus of Z minus 1 and modulus of Z plus 1, then which of the options will be correct? So first of all, modulus of Z. It is maximum of this or this. That is what saying. They are saying modulus of Z will be one of these two, whichever is maximum. If modulus of Z minus 1 is maximum, then modulus of Z will be equal to modulus of Z minus 1. If modulus of Z plus 1 is maximum, then modulus of Z will be equal to modulus of Z plus 1, whichever it is. So suppose if modulus of Z is modulus of Z minus 1, square both the sides, modulus of Z square will be equal to modulus of Z minus 1 square. And what is modulus of Z square? Z into Z bar. That is the formula. What is the modulus of Z minus 1 square? Z minus 1 into Z minus 1 bar. Or I can take just Z bar minus 1. Anything. Z minus 1 whole bar or just Z bar minus 1. So if I multiply, I will get Z into Z bar minus Z bar plus 1. After multiplying, I will get this. Isn't it? Okay. So now how can I write this? Because modulus of Z and modulus of Z bar is same, whether it is modulus of Z or modulus of Z bar, it is one and the same. So how will you write this? From these two, from the given sentence, you can turn it as Z plus Z bar equal to 1. Isn't it? Any questions regarding this? You can write, first I am multiplying Z into Z bar, means it is same as Z minus 1 into Z bar minus 1. So when I am multiplying, I am getting Z into Z bar minus Z bar plus 1. So what did I get? Z into Z bar. I got Z into Z bar minus Z bar plus 1. So I can cancel these two and I can write Z plus Z bar equal to 1. So this is what I got here. The same thing I can do with the other one. That means if I take modulus of Z equal to modulus of Z bar, I can write modulus of Z square will be equal to modulus of Z plus 1 square. Or modulus of Z square, I can write Z into Z bar. And modulus of Z plus 1 square, I can write Z plus 1 into Z bar plus 1. Suppose if I multiply Z into Z bar plus Z bar plus 1, I will get. Because this side also I have Z into Z bar, these two will cancel. And I will get Z plus Z bar equal to minus 1. This is the first one I got and this is the second one I got. But I have to take the maximum one. I have to take the maximum. That means combining both, I can write modulus of z plus z bar will be 1. If I take modulus for it, plus 1 will become 1, minus 1 also will become 1. So this together I can take for option C. Option C can be selected here because I'm combining both and together writing. Next is question number 16. If log of modulus of z square minus modulus of z plus 1 by 2 plus modulus of z base 3 is less than 2, then you have to find locus of z. Locus means equation. Z can be represented by which equation? We have to find out that. So first of all, if you take the given expression and if you want to remove the log, modulus of z square minus modulus of z plus 1 by 2 plus modulus of z will be less than square root of 3 whole square. To remove the log, I did this. Or further simplify, modulus of z square minus modulus of z plus 1 will be less than 3 into 2 plus modulus of z. Or modulus of z square minus modulus of z plus 1 is less than 6 plus 3 into modulus of z. Still getting all the terms to one side, modulus of z square minus modulus of z minus 3 into modulus of z plus 1 minus 6 is less than 0. Modulus of z square minus 4 into modulus of z minus 5 is less than 0. This is like a quadratic equation. So I can factorize and write it as the first factor will be modulus of z minus 5. The second factor will be modulus of z plus 1. It is less than 0. So, because it has to be less than 0 on the whole, suppose I have, instead of modulus of z, I will take like this. Easy one. Suppose I have x minus 5 into x plus 1 less than 0. How will I decide? I will draw a number line. I will draw minus 1 here. I will draw 5 here. I will make intervals. In each interval, randomly, I will pick up some numbers. Whatever numbers I want, I will pick up. From here, I will pick up minus 2. From here, I'll pick up 0. From here, I will pick up 6. And I will put in this inequality and see where I will get less than 0. If I put minus 2, what I will get? Minus 7 into minus 1. This is not less than 0. It is greater than 0. If I put 0, what I will get? Minus 5 into 1. Yes, this is less than 0 here. And then if I put 6, what I will get? 1 into 7. This is not less than 0. Greater than 0. So I can say x will lie between minus 1 and 5. The same thing I can write for modulus of z also. So from this I will say, if I want to write the inequality, modulus of z will be between minus 1 and 5. So which option is coming true? B. Like this I can solve any inequality with the help of number line. Okay, let's go to the next question. Question number 17. So in question number 17, you can see if Z1, Z2, Z3 are three distinct complex numbers and A, B, C are three positive distinct real numbers such that A by modulus of Z2 minus Z3 equal to B by modulus of Z3 minus Z1 equal to C by modulus of Z1 minus Z2. Then any one of these options should be correct. So which option will be correct? We will see. Because in the question they said all these are equal. A by modulus of Z2 minus Z3 equal to B by modulus of Z3 minus Z1 equal to C by modulus of Z1 minus Z2. We will equate it to a number K. That means all these are equal to some number K. So first of all, I will take the first one. A by modulus of Z2 minus Z3 equal to K. I will think like this. I'll simplify the first one. So A I will get K into modulus of Z2 minus Z3. When I square, A square will be K square into modulus of Z2 minus Z3 square. Now I have a formula. Modulus when I square, it is nothing but Z2 minus Z3 into the conjugate Z2 bar minus Z3 bar. This is what I have. So I will modify this for A square. For A square by Z2 minus Z3, I will write as K square into Z2 bar minus Z3 bar. Similarly, if I do with others, like if I do B square by Z3 minus Z1, I will get K square into Z3 bar minus Z1 bar. And if I do C square by Z1 minus Z2, same pattern. I'll get K square into Z1 bar minus Z2 bar. And because in the options, there is an option for adding all the three. So if I add A square by Z2 minus Z3 plus B square by Z3 minus Z1 plus C square by Z1 minus Z2, I can take K square common and write Z2 minus Z2 bar minus Z3 bar plus Z3 bar minus Z1 bar plus Z1 bar minus Z2 bar. So that all will cancel and I get 0 as the answer. That means I can go to option B. On adding all, I am getting 0 as the answer. We can go to question number 80. For complex number Z1 equal to X1 plus I Y1, Z2 equal to X2 plus I Y2, if sine theta is given as X1 Y2 minus X2 Y1 by square root of X1 square plus Y1 square into square root of this, you have to change. This is printing mistake. X2 square plus Y2 square, where theta is the angle between the roots of the equation. Actually, there is a mistake here. Theta is the angle between Z1 and Z2. It should be. And the question is find angle between the roots of the equation. That is the question. So first of all, we have to take Z1 and Z2 to complex numbers which they have given. That means if the complex numbers are Z1 and Z2, This is the formula for sine theta with which you can find the angle. So because now we have to find the angle, we will be using the same sine theta formula. But to use sine theta formula, you must know Z1 and Z2, the roots of the equation. So first of all, I will take the equation and I will find the roots. How to find the roots? Minus b, you know the old formula, minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4 into a into c by 2 into a. That means minus 2 plus or minus square root of 4 minus 12 by 2. That means minus 2 plus or minus square root of minus 8 by 2. That means minus 2 plus or minus square root of minus 1 into 4 into 2 by 2. That means minus 2 plus or minus square root of minus 1 is I, square root of 4 is 2, and then root 2 by 2. So if I take 2 common, I will have minus 1 plus or minus I root 2 by 2. I can cancel this. So in my view, the two roots Z1 minus 1 plus I root 2, Z2 minus 1 minus I root 2. That means I got what is x1, this is x1, this is y1, this is x2, this is y2. So I can use sine theta formula. x1 y2 minus 1 into minus root 2 minus x2 y1 minus 1 into root 2 by square root of x1 square minus 1 square plus y1 square root 2 square into square root of x2 square minus 1 square plus y2 square minus root 2 square. So I will get root 2 plus root 2 by square root of 1 plus 2 into square root of 1 plus 2. So 2 root 2 by 3. This is sine theta. Theta will be sine inverse 2 root 2 by 3. I can go for option A. So what is there in the question? If you understand, you can easily answer the question if you are good with the concepts. Concepts are also needed. We can go to the next question.